Okay, where do you want me to start? Hey, whoa. Need you to start by giving Graham. I need your.
Full attention.
All right. 22. How about anything before 22? Yes.
Yeah, 19.
19s?
Like through.
Oh, those last ones on the bottom?
I don't get those really.
Okay, then that's a good reason to keep working on them. All right, these ones they are asking you to solve by factoring, okay? Now, I have to assume that since you got 13 through 18 on your own, you can at least do that part. All that's happening in 19 through 24 is you have to do the factoring step by yourself, okay? So 19, we need to factor this into parentheses equals 0. The game is, ask Nate how to do it. No, the game is, what goes in front here? N and N. And then I'm looking for two numbers that multiply together to be negative 15 and add to be 2.
5 and negative 3.
So that would be n plus 5 and n minus 3. So that's the first part. Do you have any questions on how I got that?
No. This is what you.
So the way that I figure out what these numbers should be again is I need two numbers to multiply together to be this number and add together to be that number. So 5 times negative 3 is negative 15 and 5 minus 3 is 2. Okay? Now that we have it factored, we are looking for ways to make each separate piece equal to 0. So what would n have to equal for n plus 5 to be 0? Negative 5. What would n have to equal for n minus 3 to equal 0? 3. Okay, positive 3. And so my answers there that I got by factoring are that n could equal negative 5 or positive 3. All right?
All right. Julia, help me.
And that's pretty much going to be the whole same game for the rest of these, but a couple of funny things happen, so we can go over them. So starting out, same deal. What goes in the front? A and A. And then I need two numbers that multiply together to give me positive 56 and add together to give me negative 15. Negative 7 and negative 8. And if you're struggling with that piece, it's just a guess and check. Okay? So one way that you can do that is you can just start with 56 and think of things that go into 56 evenly and divide it by that. So 1 and 56. And then check. Do 1 and 56 together make negative 15.
No.
No. So then the next one you could check would be 2 and 28. Is there a way I can get negative 15 out of 2 and 28?
No.
There's a way.
Right. Then if you go from there, the next one that goes in there evenly is 4. And 4 goes in there 14 times. Can I get a 15 out of 4 and 14? No. But I'm getting closer. And then the next one is 7 and 8. And that's the pair that works. Okay? So it's just a guess and check thing. Just start plugging numbers in there and see if they work. All right, now that we've got it down to a minus 7 times a minus 8 equals 0, what do you know a has to be? What, Katie? 7 or 8. Because 7 minus 7 is 0, so that would work. 8 minus 8 is 0, so that would also work. Okay? All right. Well, all right. Okay, 21, z squared minus 10z plus 24 equals 0. So same dealio. What goes in front? Z and z. And then I need two numbers that multiply together to be 24 and add to be negative 10. So if I wanted to work my way through, I could try 1 and 24, but that obviously doesn't work.
Negative 6, negative.
Okay, you might say 2 and 12 would work.
You're not listening
Okay,
to me.
but if these two numbers have to multiply to be a positive number but add to be a negative number, what's the sign on these going to be?
Negative.
They're both going to be negative. So negative 2 and negative 12 does not give me negative 10. I could try 3 and 8. Okay, that doesn't work. And then 4 and 6 is my next one. And that's what I need. Okay? So z minus 4 times z minus 6 would FOIL out to be z squared minus 10z plus 24. Okay? So what are my two answers now? 4 and 6. All right? Okay, now starting with 22, things start to get a little bit trickier. What's the first thing that you notice that's different about number 22?
On the wrong side.
Yeah, something is on the wrong side, it's not equal to 0. How can we fix that? Subtract 12 from both sides.
You should invest in.
When I subtract 12 from w squared plus w, do I subtract the 12 from the w squared or from the w? Good question. Neither one. Okay? They're not like terms. So they cannot be combined. So it's going to be w squared plus w minus 12.
Equals
Those cancel, equals 0. Okay? So you can't combine numbers and variables when you're adding and subtracting, only when you're multiplying. Okay? So now I'm going to factor again. Okay? Two numbers that multiply together to be negative 12 and add to be 1. What? 1 and 12 doesn't add together to be 1. The great Nate is stumped. Somebody get it?
Negative 12.
3 and negative 4. How about 4 and negative 3? Because for them to add together to be 1, same thing, I need the bigger number to be positive. Okay, and it's not the same thing because my answer to this would be opposite. Okay, right, negative 4 and positive 3. Well, you'll be able to pretty soon. All right, 23, same dealio as the other one.
There should be too much time for school day.
That sounds really good.
All right, so in order to get this into the position where we can factor it, what do I have to do first?
Add 32.
I have to add 32 to both sides.
Where is it? School?
I don't know. Now, I know I'm not going to trick you again, so I'll just say that then that works out to be s squared plus 12s plus 32 equals 0. Okay? So,
Whoa, it looks so different on
4
your
and 8. Because 4 times 8 is 32, and 4 plus 8 is 12. Yeah. If the signs here are different, if I'm trying to get them to add up to a positive number, then the bigger one has to be positive because we've got a positive and a negative here. But this one doesn't matter because the signs are the same, so it's going to work out either way. Okay, so what are my two solutions there? Negative 4 and negative 8. All right? Okay, then the last one. This one is a little bit tricky. D squared equals 5D, same as the other ones. Right, I need to move that 5D over to the other side so that it's equal to 0. How do I do that? Subtract 5D. So what is D squared minus 5D? D squared minus 5D, they're not like terms, so I can't combine them. One has a squared and one doesn't. Okay? Now there's two ways that you can think about what happens next. The more sort of intelligent math way that shows that you kind of understand what you're doing is to look at this and say, well, this problem only has 2 terms in it, not 3 like the other ones. And since each term has at least one D there, I'm going to factor out a d from both of them. Okay? In other words, I'm going to think of d squared as being d times d, and 5d as being 5 times d. So if I take one of the d's out of there, what am I left with? A d minus, if I take the d out of there, what am I left with? 5, and that has to equal 0. So what are my two answers for d?
0 and 5.
0 and 5, because 0 times anything is 0, and 0 times anything is 0. The other way, hold on. Hold on.
Whoa.
The other way, if that confused you, that you can think of is you can do this the same way as we did the other problems. I need a d and a d in front. The thing that's different is, what do these two numbers now have to multiply together to be? 0. Yeah, because it's d squared minus 5d plus 0. And then they have to add together to be negative 5. What two numbers multiply to be 0 and add to be negative 5? Negative 5 and 0. And so then you can get it into this form, and you'll get your answers as being 5 and 0, just like before. Okay? All right, will you pass those forward